It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Hello to all. Welcome to Divas That Care Network. I am Joyce Manning, and I will be your host for this invigorating, robust lifestyle show. I would like to thank each one of our listeners that have tuned in live today and the ones that will be listening to the podcast. I am just so very grateful for each and every one of you. And you are all in for a very special show today because I have with me my returning diva, Nancy Lee Gearson. And her and I are going to chat about horses and heart math magic. Oh, man, anytime you say horses, it's magic for me. I just love it. So, Nancy, could you please introduce yourself to our listeners today?
I will. And once again, I have to really sincerely extend my thanks for being invited onto this phenomenal show, not once, but many times. So I'm honored and really delighted each time. It's always fun. So we discovered each other through horses, which is just the best way to meet people. Joyce enjoyed my book, which is called The Horse Who Changed My Life, My Serendipitous Journey Through Horses. It's a memoir, and it's now an award-winning memoir. I'm told I should remember to say that, so I will immodestly mention that. And Joyce and I have talked about a series of topics. Today's is a little different. I can't wait till we introduce the theme.
Oh, Nancy. And it just touched my heart when you said we met through horses. And what we're talking about today is horses and heart math magic and the magical friends that you meet through horses. The horses just are magic. They bring you together with different friends. And like I said, it touched my heart. So I'm already thinking of things that horses and heart math magic do.
Yeah, this is going to be very different from not only what you and I have chatted about in the past several radio casts, but I don't really talk a lot about this myself. So it's kind of that's sloppy. It is a maiden voyage for me. Sometimes I feel that I've been more of a perennial student than teacher. But, you get a little ground under you, grow a few whiskers, so to speak, and you acknowledge that you can impart things to people, to others, that maybe you had never imparted before. I mean, I could talk with you, as you know, about the magic of meeting horses, the serendipities and the synchronicities that lead one to a particular horse or to a particular life path. This topic today about heart math, a little bit of brain science, as it were, is different for me to talk to anyone about in connection with my horse life. I happen to have a part-time job that involves teaching mindfulness practices to young children, and so I've learned about brain science in that context. But today I wanted to mention my foray into brain science, so to speak, in connection with horses and how I came to have a curiosity about that science. So anything you'd like to say before I blast off for several minutes?
Oh, it just sounds so interesting. I am so excited that you are going to share your knowledge about heart math with horses and heart math magic. So you just take off with it. I am just excited as can be to listen.
All right. A slight, little bit of a disclaimer. I'm not a neuroscientist by profession. I've been reading a lot about neuroscience. But I just, so anybody out there who wants to stand me corrected, please understand this is my grasping of the subject in a very short time that we have, mind you. I'm new to talking about it publicly. And it will not be a reflection on Joyce or Candace or the Robust Lifestyles folks. This is all Nancy Lee Gerson speaking from the heart and speaking from the knowledge that I've gained thus far. It's ongoing. So then, I love the magic, Joyce, of how one has horses in one's life. As you know from the past, and your audience, if they've heard me before, knows, I didn't grow up around horses. I came to them as an adult, and how I came to a life with horses, which is what's in the book. I still have horses. How I came to that life was filled with serendipity and synchronicity and magical connection. I ended up getting certified as an equine coach. I moved across the country to live with a horse that I met on a retreat and ended up with a whole herd of horses by myself as a total newbie to cohabiting with horses. So talk full of magic, right? And even with practicing Reiki, I got certified in Reiki, even with practicing Reiki with animals and with practicing some equine coaching, I liked leaving it in the magical realm. I didn't feel a lot of need to explore the science of why it happens. Why does Reiki have an animal relax? Why does Reiki produce healing? Why does equine coaching have people sharing things they've never shared with anybody before? After 40 years of, holding it into themselves, all that stress suddenly gets released in the presence of a horse. I kind of left it as magical. At some point, though, before I started working with mindfulness and young children in my part-time job, at some point in my life with horses a number of years ago, I got curious about the science of it. I think I heard reference to the Heart Math Institute enough times, must have been at least 3, because the magic law of 3 is very much in my life. I hear you chuckling. I must have heard it at least 3 times, and so I pursued it a little. So here we go. This is as I say, this is exclusively Nancy's way of getting herself around it a little bit, again, in a short period of time. So the heart has something called cardiac coherence, when everything is working right. The respiratory systems, the immune systems, the immunological system in general, all of those systems, when the nervous system, of course, when they're all working together harmoniously, it's got cardiac coherence. The heart rate variability, is working well, all of that. It turns out that I didn't realize this. I didn't realize a lot about this. The heart is sending way more signals to the brain than the other way around, that turns out. And when it's sending those signals, it's got an electromagnetic field, and it radiates out about maybe 2 feet, 2 meters, 2 feet. So that's why, get this, when you're in the presence of a wise person, a swami, a long-time meditator, somebody who's of a peaceful nature, when you're sitting across from them, within a yard or 2 of them, you come away feeling that peacefulness. I know that happened to me when I had a 2-day retreat with Gangaji, a guru, American-born, Mississippi-born guru, and something about being up there with her, a couple of feet away from her. This is over a decade ago. I still remember how tranquil I became up on a stage in front of people looking across at her. So that's in the human realm. So horses, I'm probably going to make this shorter than really, it's way, way shorter than it deserves. But horses now, they have an electromagnetic field about 5 times as large. They radiate out 9 or 10 yards. So you can picture yourself just walking into a field where a horse at freedom, not under undue stress, is, several yards away from you, and you can feel something immediately, depending on how tuned in you are. So then check this out, Joyce. If you're with a herd of horses in a field, and they're all, again, living as natural a lifestyle as you would hope for. They're not stalled for 22 out of 24 hours a day, and as free reign as they can be. If you have a whole herd, they all are radiating that same peacefulness. That's the frequency of their electromagnetic field. Even the newbie to the herd, a little bit nervous, a little jittery, the way electromagnetic fields work is the more intense field is what takes over the weaker field. It's a kind of entraining, if I'm using that phrase correctly. So you're ending up with a field radiating out at least 9-10 yards in all directions. That's the electromagnetic field of a herd of horses that's feeling secure. No wonder people are overwhelmed. And again, to me, it doesn't take away the magic of how it happens. It adds a whole other layer to it. I could probably stop there. I probably will stop in just a few moments. But you can imagine how equine coaching could just be off the charts more powerful than so many other forms of therapeutic regimen, not to throw shade on any of them, but come on now, that electromagnetic field coming at you. I think I'll just stop and let you get a word in here, Joyce.
Oh, I just
if
love
you have
that.
one.
Oh my goodness, I was taking notes and I'm going, oh, this is just incredible because they just radiate out that peacefulness. I did not know the science behind it, though, that they have a five times greater electrical magnetic field than the humans do, and that a whole herd can radiate 9 to 10 yards out like that. That is just, it is just beautiful. But yes, I feel it all the time. I feel it with my horses. And a quick example that came to mind, I delivered a horse for a lady the other day that she was gifting to someone. And this horse had a partner prior to it, and this lady had this horse. And the look in that horse's eyes when she saw her companion, and it just calmed the rest of the horses down. And even the people where we delivered it said, I can't believe how calm they all are. And I said, well, she's radiating off the peacefulness because she knows this horse already. They've been companions. And so not only do I feel it radiates to the humans, they can radiate it within themselves in an example like that to keep the herd even peaceful and calm, to bringing in someone new. So that was just an example that came to my mind as you were talking too.
Yeah, it's a really good point to bring up, and it's funny, like coming from like this Western culture background. I think some of your audience may have heard me if they've listened previously. They know that I'm a retired attorney. I still occasionally get asked to do a virtual deposition here and there, but I was brought up very much in I call it the Western culture, and yet I've had a keen interest in Eastern philosophies, and I've been meditating through transcendental meditation since my college years with a tortured history of irregularity. I do not like to make myself out to be more than I ought to. On the one hand, I'm a long-term meditator of a kind, but, the twice a day, every day, every week, every month, every year, it hasn't really been that way. I've discovered there are other kinds of meditations, of course, walking meditations, breathing meditations, loving kindness, gratitude meditations. And as far as, though, the transcendental meditation goes, I don't have it as a really regular, ongoing practice. But nevertheless, again, I got certified in Reiki and studied animal communication with Nancy Windhart and Anna Twinney and some others. I just mention this because for somebody who has, my foot in both the Western and Eastern, academic and esoteric realms, it's always marvelous for me when I can not lose the magic about something and yet also use my mind to educate myself in some of that more academic sense. So I think it all goes together. When people come into the company of horses, it's astonishing to see how much can fall away physically, emotionally, psychically, mentally. And now we have just a wee bit of the science behind it. There's, of course, so much more to it.
Oh, yes. Oh, that is just beautiful, because I know my whole life, I mean, I've been very blessed, fortunate to have horses in my whole life. And they have always brought me that peacefulness. It's like magic being around them. And even now, like, it was good to hear you say your meditation that you don't have a set time or that it has to be this way or that way, because I'm just kind of like being out in nature, being around my horses, just being with them, just brushing them even. It's just almost like it's a meditation where I can just be with them, and a calmness and peacefulness just comes over me. And it is just beautiful. And even to be out with them in the night when the stars and the moon are out, it's just magic with them. They've always been magic to me.
Yeah, and what you were saying about how the horses can positively affect the human being, then you added so perfectly that one horse or a bunch of calm horses can have a positive effect on the jittery, nervous ones. I'm going to just now piggyback onto that it works. I won't even use the phrase it works in both ways. It works in multiple ways. And what I'm thinking of, Joyce, is that when people are meditating, I've seen this in my own life, and they've done studies, I've watched videos. When a person is meditating, an animal doesn't necessarily have to be a horse. It happens with my cats all the time. I know other people will say this as well. When I do sit to meditate, there's a really good chance that one of my cats is going to end up on my lap or curled up, touching against my thigh. I know a lot of people are probably listening and saying, yep, that's my cat, that's my dog. Horses will do it too. When I do equine coaching, I start out by having people, once they're in the round pen, go to the center and close their eyes if they're comfortable, or just lower them. And I do what's called a grounding exercise, or it's called pausing, centering, returning to self. You know, there are many names. And it is so fantastic because, of course, I keep my eyes open to see the horse come over to the person. Oh, Joyce, just that moment, like you could close the book, go home, and that's that. The person opens their eyes and they see that the horse is right there at their side or staring at them directly. Sometimes they face the person's chest with their nose right there. That's it. That's that's the movie of the week, the movie of the decade. That's the one. So, humans can offer that to animals too, is my little long-winded little point there.
Oh, yes. And it is so amazing how there may be the herd of horses, 3 or 4 in the arena or in the round pen, and it's usually the one that picks out that they need to go to that person. And to me, that's magic in itself, how that horse knows that this is what this person needs, or maybe the horse is needing something too, or they know that they can benefit from each other. And that is magic in itself. And yes, too, with the dogs and the cats, and yeah, I can relate to that too. So yeah, animals know. They just know. They know so much. They can read us so well. It's just unbelievable.
That's for sure. One of my mentors in the equine coaching realm is Melissa Pierce from the Touched by a Horse equine certification program. I watched how she conducted coaching programs, and we would in fact have to play the part of the coach, the facilitator, and then other times we played the role of the patient, as it were, the person coming for coaching. And, you're co-partnering with one of her horses when you're on her property during the certification program, 2-year program. And so many times the person playing the role of facilitator, whether it was Melissa or one of our students, and the person playing the student would be sitting just outside the the corral rails, the round pen rails, seated across from each other, just talking a little bit to set it up. When I do it, I use a wisdom deck, and I have the person pick a card from the deck, and that's how I kind of begin. Melissa tends to do a little bit of talking first. She may do it other ways too, but in my tenure there, she often did it with a little conversation to begin with. And so often, the horse that was in the corral, the co-partnering piece of the partnership, would come over to the edge of the rails closest to the two people who were conversing. Like, it's a 60-foot round pen. The horse could be anywhere. And I don't know that it happened every time. I certainly saw in my 2 years there that the horse would often come over. And then when I was doing, doing some of my own coaching, I only had 3 horses at a time, and really 2 of them that were doing the coaching more than all 3 of them. And so many times, my horses would also do the same thing, come over to the rail and listen, just check it out. Melissa always said that she was certain that the horse was just getting a feel, again, the electromagnetic field. For a horse to be able to read an electromagnetic field 3 feet away is nothing, piece of cake for them. And I marveled at how the horses would just take interest immediately, most of them, not all of them. Some of them had to kind of warm up to the person once they were in the round pen, but very, very often they expressed their interest from the get-go. Quite something to see.
Oh, yes. That is quite something to see. I've experienced it just on a very small level when people from the city have come out and want to see the farm and see the animals, and we'll go in where the horses are. And it's always so interesting. I have 3 of them, and how each one reacts differently to them. My mare will usually walk away. She's like, no, I don't need this today. And that's just her. And then my geldings will usually come up, and the one is very soft with how he does it, and the other one's more, I'm going to kind of come up and see what buttons I can push and see how I can help you today. And so it's just magic to me on how they work and how they know what they need to do. And the science behind it with the electromagnetic field being 5 times that of humans, I just love that, because I had never heard that said before, because I'd never really heard about the heart math, the science behind it. I just knew the magic was there. So I was like, okay, I see the magic.
Yeah, and I think, and I know, as always, it just goes so fast, you and me, when we get together talking horses and the animal world and the world of nature. It goes so fast. So I feel a sense of rounding out just come over me, and it just struck me that this is how we can pursue our life paths. We can be motivated by the sheer magic of it, and at the same time, we can do some research into it. If we're motivated to change our lives in some way because of an impulse that came over us, sometimes we'll have the need to find out, well, where did that impulse come from? Well, let me just check that out. Other times, it's just a moving energetic force, and you don't feel the need to back it up with the science or the explanation, and you're moved. Your body is moved, your heart is moved, and action manifests. And I think I know that it's all okay. Any way we follow our path, heart's desire, brain research involved, all of it is in. Nothing's excluded. Everything is in.
Yes. Oh, yes, I love that. Be motivated by the magic, and whatever you feel you need to pursue, that's great because that's what you are needing for it. And everyone has a different idea about it, and I love that, how you put that. Just be motivated by the magic. I love that. Well, Nancy, and like you said, you and I could talk for hours, I know, about all of this. When it comes to horses, we could just chat all day. So as we're coming to a close, if you would like, please share with our listeners how they may connect with you when they hear this podcast and go, I want to connect with Nancy and get some more information on this and talk to her. So how can they connect with you, Nancy?
Well, thank you for that invitation. I always feel like our chats are so rich. I always feel like I would just hang up the phone. Honestly, I know this is, a little bit of marketing for me, but I feel like I could hang up the phone and totally forget to do that unless you graciously invite me, because it's just so wonderful to talk with you. I could hang up and be good to go. So thank you. I'm easy to find. My name and my email, everything's been the same for ages. It's Nancy Lee Gerson, just regular NancyLeeGerson. So my website is nancyleegerson.com. My email is nancyleegerson@yahoo. And on Instagram, it's @NancyLeeG8. My book is sold, The Horse Who Changed My Life, My Serendipitous Journey Through Equus, on my website as well as through Amazon and indie books, etc. I love when people go to my website to order it because even on my website they can buy it from one of the online retailers, but they can also buy directly from me. And then guess what? I autograph one of the books from my own stock. I put a personalized note on it, and I mail it out the next day. I love when people do that. It may cost $1 or $2 more than Amazon can offer. We all know that, no secret. At the same time, I love having autographed books. I have a number of them, and I treasure them. And if it tickles anybody to have one signed by me with a little note, then I encourage them to order directly. Or just reach out to me with horse stories, honestly. I have a Facebook group as well. If people want to know about that, they can write to me. I'm easy to find. If you'd like my book as well, that's great. I'm also 300 pages into the rough draft of my new book. It's fiction this time, but centered around an animal rescue. You and I will have to talk about that, Joyce.
Oh, yes, definitely. I love it. Oh. Well, that just brings up my next question I was going to have for you is I would love to have you return on Robust Lifestyle in the month of April because there is just so much you can share, and I love to chat with you all the time.
Great. April is good. We can pick whichever Monday works for you, and I hope your audience will come on board for that one as well.
Oh, I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. Well, Nancy, I want to thank you so much, and I want to put in a little plug about your book. Be sure to reach out to her because it is a very special book, and having her personally autograph it, that means something special too. So it's well worth your time to read through it because it's a great little book. So, and I love to hear about your new one. You are so welcome, Nancy. And Nancy, let the magic follow you all day long and just have a magical Monday.
You and your audience
so
as well.
Oh, thank you. And I would like to thank each one of our listeners for tuning in to this absolutely invigorating show with our incredible diva, Nancy Lee Gerson. Please share this show with all your family and friends. Check out all the other hosts and their shows on divasthatcare.com. Have a magical day, and remember, be motivated by the magic. Give your animals that great big extra hug and share your love with them. Until we connect again on Robust Lifestyle, stay strong and healthy.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.